Hi, my name is Kelsie. I'm an Oregon State University College of Forestry graduate student. I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Tourism, Recreation, and Adventure Leadership. I absolutely love everything to do with the outdoors. But my passion is to learn and to educate others about the outdoors and how we can respect the outdoors while we're traveling and hiking in these natural areas. You may have heard of the 7 Leave No Trace principles. If we were to adopt these principles into our everyday activities outside, we can hopefully minimize the impact that we are causing on our environment. We are here today at William L. Finley National Wildlife Refuge. We're just south of Corvallis, Oregon. This National Wildlife Refuge was originally established to protect the dusky Canadian geese winter habitat, but this area protects more than just this geese species. It's also important to acknowledge the people that once lived and cared for these lands that William L. Finley National Wildlife Refuge now resides on. These lands were once the homelands of the Calapooya people. After the Willamette Valley Treaty of 1855, the Calapooya people were forced off their lands and relocated to reservations here in Oregon. Their native descendants are members of the Confederate Tribes of Grand Island today. Our first principle is plan ahead and being prepared. We want to make sure that we're checking the weather of where we're going to be hiking that day to make sure that we're prepared for the day. We want to make sure that we have the proper gear. That doesn't mean that we need top of the line gear. It just means that we need to be prepared for where we're going to be hiking. So if we're going to be hiking in an area that's going to be muddy, we don't want to be wearing flip-flops. We might want to be wearing tennis shoes or hiking boots. We also might want to be wearing different kind of layers. Right now it's a little chilly this morning, so I've got a double layer on, but if it might heat up during the middle of the afternoon, we want to make sure that we have a different layer for that kind of temperature. Then I also always go hiking with my trusty backpack just to carry all of my essentials that I need while I'm hiking. Our first essential, super important not to forget, is our water. We want to make sure we have enough water for ourselves, our kids, and our animals that we are hiking with, and maybe even a little extra just in case. Also want to make sure that we have food and our snacks. Just in case if we need a little extra energy while we're hiking on the trail, we want to make sure that we pack enough for us. Even if it's a small trail, you never know whenever you might need that little extra pick-me-up. Also, if you're planning an all-day trail, you want to make sure that you bring your lunch with you so that you don't get tired on the trail. And lastly, you want to make sure that you have a map. Here's our map of Finley National Wildlife Refuge here where we are today. And I picked up this map at the trailhead just in case if I were to get lost and I didn't have cell phone service in here. It's always good to bring different gears like cell phone service, but if you're in different wilderness areas, you might not get cell phone service, and a map may be a little confusing. So you might want to bring a GPS Garmin that can be able to tell you where you are and also send out help if you were to need help out in the wilderness. Our second principle is camping and hiking on durable surfaces. Here at Finley National Wildlife Refuge, we don't have any camping here, but where it is allowed, we need to make sure we camp on a durable surface, meaning an area that's hardened or away from our waterways. Here at Finley National Wildlife Refuge, we have a lot of different trails and hardened surfaces like this boardwalk we are on. It is here to protect the natural wetlands that are here. We want to make sure we cause a minimal impact, and if we were to walk on this sensitive vegetation over here, we might cause more of an impact. You have to know about resilience. Some plants are resilient than others. So resilience means if we were to step on them, we may not come back. And if they don't come back, usually we might see an invasive species kind of coming in. So if a plant is resilient, you would step on it like grass and it would kind of come back later on. So you just want to make sure that we don't use any braided or social trails that are on the path, and make sure we stay on the hardened area. Our third Leave No Trace principle is being aware of our surroundings and considerate of others. We want to make sure that we are respectful of other people on the hiking trail. Remember that the outdoors is meant for absolutely everybody to enjoy. So if we see a faster moving hikers around us, we move over on the trail for them so we can respect them. If we were to have kids or dogs with us, we want to make sure that we move those over on the side as well too. You want to treat people how you want to be treated and be respectful whenever on the trail so that we can all have an enjoyable time out here. fourth principle is dispose of our waste properly. That means our human waste, our pet waste, and our litter waste that we may have. We want to make sure that we keep track of our different fruits and vegetable peels and scraps that we may have from our snacks and not throw them away and toss them into the woods. They do dispose over time, but we want to make sure that's not natural to the environment and we're not making animals dependent on our waste here. We also want to make sure that we have little scraps from our waste. Oh, look, just like this little trash right here, these little corner wrapper pieces. We want to make sure that we keep a hold of these and put them in our pockets tight, because if we were to leave our waste out here, it could possibly infect the habitat we're at and our waterways. Our fifth leave no trace principle is leave what you've found. We want to make sure we leave our plants, animals, and artifacts. Sometimes these artifacts are over 100 years old, and if we take them out of this habitat, then they won't be there for the next time we come to visit or for future generations to come and visit this area. You also don't want to take any plants out of the area. Like we have over here, old man beard lichen. This lichen could potentially have a disease or a different kind of fungus within it, and if we were to take this out of this habitat and place it into a different habitat, we could be infecting the other habitat with the disease or fungus. So we want to make sure that we leave everything be and just look with our eyes. Another leave no trace principle is respecting wildlife. We should never ever feed or pet wildlife. We need to make sure that we give them their distance. Remember that we are actually in their home. If we were to feed or pet wildlife, we could potentially be disturbing their mating seasons and their migration patterns, which could have an impact on the species as a whole. So our last principle for leave no trace principle is minimizing campfires. Here at William L. Finley National Wildlife Refuge, we're not allowed to have campfires. But where there are campfire designations and we're allowed to have them, we need to make sure we follow a couple rules. We want to make sure that we fully extinguish our campfires when we are done with them and or leaving the area. That doesn't mean leave them smoldering, it means completely extinguishing them. Also, we want to have them in campfire rings, so they're in an area to where the fire cannot spread outside. We also want to make sure that there isn't a ban in the area for these campfires, so that we are actually allowed to have the campfires in the areas. We've been seeing a lot on the Pacific Northwest and across the United States and world in general of wildfires going on. In fact, 88% of those wildfires from 2016 to 2021 have been human-caused wildfires. So we can help minimize that impact by completely extinguishing our fires.